Today's been a space to bring people from the Liberton and Gilmerton area together, just to have a conversation about the place, what happens here, what's going on, to get people connecting and collaborating.
This was a very interesting case, first because it's kind of following up from a previous cross-pollination workshop that the Glasshouse had led before in Portobello area. So there were people from Portobello who were kind of leading into this workshop.
You know, this cross-pollination approach has evolved over a long time. It's been about 10 years we've been playing around with it. And it was a name that we gave to actually just a way of working together. We, in a way, formalized it a little bit into an approach and have developed workshop elements that we could use to do it. But Portobello was an important step in that journey because it was the first time we used it in a place-based conversation.
Subsequently, I went on to do a secondment not long after in Wester Hailes with the City of Edinburgh Council. So I did a residency for 6 months just before the pandemic, and that was helping to develop a local place plan for Wester Hailes, which is now being submitted to the council. But that was the first phase of that work. But your kind of approach and that kind of thematic / place approach stuck in my mind. So I managed to use a digital mapping tool, Commonplace,
right? Yeah.
But we did very similar kind of exercises of trying to get people to almost like tell their story, not just a problem, but and look at the connections between things that people are really positive about and things that people were worried about. So you could almost like get a heat map of things that were going on. So it kind of helped me structure my approach, I suppose, in Wester Hailes.
South East Edinburgh is often overlooked because it's not quite as prominent as other parts of Edinburgh, and because of that people are really up for collaborating and getting involved and doing things together, and there's less third sector organisations in that part of Edinburgh.
The cross-pollination method held appeal because in this area we have lots of people working in silos, people that maybe don't have an opportunity to see each other on a day-to-day basis in their work. So by bringing together groups from all parts of the city to see what sort of services they offer in the Gilmerton Liberton area and how maybe they could support one another, work together and augment the offer to local people.
What I liked about it, basically we were asked to leave our own agendas at the door, leave our own groups at the door and just come and have a conversation. And that pollination project facilitated that.
I feel that I've come away enthused about my work again. There are so many challenges that my team face on a daily basis, and it can become difficult to stay motivated and affect change. But I feel that I've heard about so many strengths and assets that I feel really motivated and enthused again to try and engage with all these assets and find out what we can do to support people in our communities.
I think it's really helpful having that map to the locality of places. You really get a sense of the geographic of the area and where all the organisations are, and then all the exercises and the postcards. Yeah, I've been to loads of networking events. I think this was most productive. I felt the most I got most out of it and met some really good people that I can definitely do some projects with. Everybody got a chance to speak, and because there was, it was kind of held and structured, but it wasn't, you have to talk about this. So if things went off on a bit of a tangent, then that was fine, and then loads of things come from that as well you might not know about. Even weird thing, like when you had to write down things about yourself. There was one woman and just plays music, and then somebody else was like, "Oh, we're looking for you." Just you would never know that otherwise, if we were just doing a kind of normal networking event. So
I connected with Sophia, having seen what the cross-pollination work had been done in Portobello before. What I really appreciate about this methodology is that it's able to be done and left. Sophia and Katerina came here today, they did 3 hours worth of workshop, and then they were able to leave the tools with the community. They left a toolbox nonetheless. I think that's great, and also all the materials so the community can carry on the process. And when the community is ready, or the people in the community will say, actually we've got to a point where we want to explore community wealth building, or we want to do a local place plan or something like that. They'll be, they'll be proactive because they've been doing the stuff in the background with the tools which were left behind.
Well, I do think in the southeast Edinburgh locality, there is an opportunity for its voice to be heard. It's been very quiet for some time now. Other localities are way ahead as far as its communication expertise is concerned. So I do hope people take away the thoughts to make their voices heard from within the southeast. The event hopefully is galvanising, making people go away to think about all of that, and if there's a return event in 3 months' time to follow this up, then hopefully there's some good leadership comes from that.
I think with this activity, this workshop, what was important for us is that it's helped illustrate this continuation, this ripple effect. It's very difficult to show this because usually these workshops are like a one-off or, over a short period of time. But you're sort of putting in some seeds, and these seeds take a while to grow. And it was nice to come back and to see, in a period of 5 years how things progress. And you have to, keep going back and having the conversations to understand this. But there's a lot happening, and starting from very little, small, local actions, you can get a lot of impacts. Both for the places and for the people in those places.